They told me I'd never be anything. They laughed at my dreams. They made sure I stayed small, silent, and scared. But when they pushed me out of their world, I built my own, and now they watch my life from the sidelines, wishing they never underestimated the girl they tried to break. My name is Ava Mitchell, and this is the story of how the people who were supposed to support me became the ones who tried hardest to destroy me. They convinced me I wasn't good enough. They mocked my goals. They told me I was wasting my time dreaming bigger. But the thing about dreams, you can bury them, but they grow back stronger than before. And my revenge wasn't loud, violent, or messy. It was simple. I left. I built my life. And they were forced to watch me shine without them. I grew up in a small town where everyone knew everything about everyone. And in places like that, dreams are treated like jokes, especially if you're a quiet girl like me. My parents weren't cruel, but they were dismissive. The kind of people who believed success only belonged to the lucky or the privileged, not to people like us. Not to me. Whenever I talked about my future, my dad would roll his eyes. My mom would sigh and say, "Ava, be realistic. Girls like you don't make it far." But the real poison came from my older cousin, Lana. Perfect hair, perfect clothes, perfect grades. Or at least that's what she made everyone believe. She treated me like her personal punching bag. A little jab here, a little insult there. If I got good grades, she'd say I cheated. If I tried something new, she'd say I was copying her. If I talked about wanting to move to the city, she laughed in my face. "Ava, you're not city material. You'll get eaten alive." Everyone laughed with her. I didn't, but I did stay quiet. Not because I agreed, but because I was planning. It happened the night before college applications were due. I spent months preparing essays, saving application fees, and choosing programs I dreamed about. When I came home from my part-time job, exhausted but excited to submit everything, my entire folder was gone. All my papers, my drafts, my recommendation letters, everything. I searched the whole house before I found it. In the trash can, crushed, torn, destroyed. Lana leaned against the wall, arms crossed, smiling. "Oh, did you need those?" "Oops," I froze. "You threw them away." She shrugged. "Relax, it's not like you were going to get in. I'm just keeping you from embarrassing yourself." My chest tightened. I felt like the floor dropped beneath my feet. All my work gone. My mom walked in, heard the yelling, and instead of asking what happened, said, "Ava, stop overreacting. School isn't everything." In that moment, something inside me broke. Or maybe it finally unlocked. Because for the first time in my life, I realized they never wanted me to succeed. Not because I couldn't, but because they knew I absolutely could, and they were terrified of it. That night, I searched my phone for hours. Jobs, shared apartments, cheap cities, online colleges, anything. And I made a decision. I was leaving no matter what. I took every double shift I could, saved every dollar, sold old clothes online, tutored kids after school. I didn't tell anyone. Let them believe I was still the quiet, helpless Ava they'd molded me into. In reality, I was building my exit brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck. Months passed, and finally, I had enough. Not much, but enough. It was quiet, cold still. I packed one suitcase, a backpack, my documents, and at 2 a.m., I walked out the door. No goodbyes, no explanations, nothing for them to ruin. I took a bus to the nearest city, Chicago. No plan, no friends, no backup, just freedom. It felt terrifying, but it felt right. Life didn't magically change. In fact, it got harder. I worked at a coffee shop during the day, studied online at night, rented a tiny room in a noisy apartment. I made mistakes, I cried, I got exhausted, but for the first time, every difficult step was mine, and that made it worth it. I discovered I had talents I never knew existed. Marketing, design, communication. Professors started noticing me. Customers at the cafe asked for me by name. I met real friends, people who didn't laugh at my dreams. And slowly, I began to rise. I got a scholarship, an internship, then a full-time job at a digital agency. I became good, then great, then unstoppable. By age 27, I had my own apartment, my own car, and a career I built from scratch with nothing but grit and faith. And then came the moment that made everything fall into place. One morning, my boss said, "Ava, you're leading the big presentation next week." My heart almost burst. It was a partnership pitch with a major lifestyle influencer. Guess who walked into the conference room? Lana. Perfect, polished, and suddenly speechless. Her jaw dropped when she saw me, confident, successful, together. The girl she had called nothing was now the one standing at the head of the table. She stuttered, "Ava, you work here?" I smiled calmly. "I don't just work here. I lead this project." Her face went pale. During the pitch, she couldn't even look at me. Her voice cracked. She made mistakes. Her team looked confused. Meanwhile, I delivered flawlessly professional, prepared, powerful. And when it was over, she pulled me aside. Her voice was small, the smallest I'd ever heard it. "Ava, you look different. You've changed." I held her gaze, steady and unapologetic. "No, Lana, this is who I always was. You just never wanted to see it." She blinked back tears. Actual tears. But I didn't comfort her. Not out of cruelty, but clarity. Her pain wasn't my responsibility. Not anymore. When I returned home years later for a family gathering, the reactions were priceless. My parents stared, shocked, silent, suddenly proud in ways they never were before. Relatives whispered, "She did all that on her own. She lives in Chicago now. She's so successful." And Lana, she couldn't even meet my eyes. She used to tower over me. Now she shrank into her chair. Not because I wanted to make her feel small, but because that's what happens when you can T-stand next to someone you once tried to break. They didn't apologize. They didn't admit anything, but they didn't have to, because my life now, my career, my apartment, my freedom, my peace, everything they said I'd never have, is exactly what I built. And they watch it from a distance, wishing they hadn't buried the girl who learned to grow without them. And that's how the people who tried to take away my dreams ended up watching me live the life they never believed I deserved. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was simple. I became everything they said I couldn't.